Periscope can see.
Hey everybody, it's Mike here, the Watchman. And you know what? Today I'm so excited because we have with us Jo Rae Perkins. She is from the state of Oregon. She is running for a seat. She is doing God's work for all of us. And Jo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mike, for having me on. I appreciate it. It's a great honor.
Well, hey, Jo Rae, I got to ask you, what possesses a woman like yourself to run for Congress and to try and bring God back into our country?
It must be a God thing. and that's literally it. And so, which I told you, I'm actually live streaming this on Facebook and on Periscope. And so it's I was thinking about this early this morning. How much guts do I have to say publicly that I'm running because it's what God called me to do? And in our culture in America, that's a challenge sometimes to do. Pardon me, I'm moving my computer. So while you see me moving around here live on the video, I am rearranging. There we go. That's better. Oh my God.
You know, Jo Rae, I mean, the funny thing is, people in America today, I mean, we all talk about, especially us Christians, we talk about the desire to stick to the Constitution. We want the right to bear arms. We want the right of free speech. We want everything that the Constitution gives us. But very few of us are willing to get out there and fight for it like you are doing. What brought you to that point in your life?
To fight for the Constitution?
Yes. It's
just there. It's just the strangest thing. It's it's one of those things I can't answer because it's just part of who I am. It's like my faith. It's just part of who I am. And when I read the Constitution and I realize what our country, where we started, what we went through, our forefathers, and aligning that with biblical prophecy and in the end times and how the one world government wants to tell us what to do. All these things just like seem to converge together in my spirit. And this is our Constitution. This is what we were founded on. Why is it not being followed? And what's behind that? And so when I take a look at what is behind the dismantling of our Constitution, I realize that's actually tied in with biblical prophecy of forces that are going to be coming against the world globally. And this is what the job description is. Why isn't Congress doing the job description and letting our rights go away?
Well, listen, Jo Rae, we've got, you're absolutely dead on. I mean, it's prophecy happening right now. I mean, we have wars and rumors of wars. I mean, my wife right now is about ready to leave New York to go to Israel.
Oh, wow.
A worse time, theoretically, for her to go, but she's going. And why is she going? She's going because it's time for us to stand up. And that's what I love about what you're doing, standing up. Now, have you been attacked? I mean, a Christian running for Congress is, I don't know, almost an oxymoron. I mean, what have you gone through?
Well, it hasn't been horrible. There's been one of the opponents who has put on his website that claimed to be preordained by God, that to win this race, and he looked in the Bible and he didn't see my name anywhere in there. And how can we allow such blasphemy against our Lord to say these kinds of things? Do we want this kind of person attacking our religious values? And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's pretty interesting. And I won't go into the whole thing about this young man, but other than pray for him. Not because of what he said about me, but because of things that I found out that he's been dealing with in his personal life. But I'm going, well, my name is in there because the Bible says whosoever. I'm a whosoever. You're a whosoever. Everybody watching on Facebook Live and on Periscope, you're a whosoever. And so my name is in the Bible under whosoever. And in my heart, I know what God has called me to do. And I 100% am convinced and know that I'm going to win the election. And so if somebody wants to claim that I say that I'm preordained by God, I suppose that's a legitimate interpretation.
Well, you know, Jo Rae, I mean, you have a fascinating background. I mean, you've been a financial planner, you've been a real estate, you've done a lot of stuff out there, and you're going to bring that experience with you. What do you think our country needs today?
Our country needs to know that elected officials are going to stop selling them down the river. That they're going to stop capitulating, giving in to special interest groups that have an agenda that is not really for making our country better. It's for making their organization better or not. I mean, you know, things not good for our country. And so when I look at that, that's the things that I want to see happen is, again, the Constitution lists 18 items that are the job. Why are we listening to lobbyists saying, hey, give us money for Planned Parenthood? I'm sorry. Number one, it violates our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence when we talk about life. Number two, it's not in the Constitution that's a role for Congress to be giving money and taking money from private organizations. It's not there. And so those are just some of the things that I want to see come back of, let's get men and women of principle, because that's what our country needs. They need to know, when I elect you, you're going to do what you say you're going to do, and you're not going to cave into the establishment and to powerful lobbyists.
Well, you know, Jo Rae, I think the problems that we've had in our country, and the temptation is great, is that we have these powerful lobbyists and these corporations who basically buy politicians. And
yes,
I'm not saying anything. I'm not condemning any of those people that sold out. I mean, the temptation would be horribly awful to try and resist. But you know what you're doing? What you're kind of running on a platform of goodness. What a wonderful voice that is. I mean, where is it in your past that it came up to you to serve our country you're trying to do?
See, again, that goes back to, it just is. It's like, so for those of you out there, please forgive me for about what I'm about to say, but it's the analogy that my brain goes to. It's, how do I know that I know that I know that God is God? Okay, how do I know this? It's a knowing, and it's something that is there that I just know that this is the right thing to do for America. And I know so much of this stuff because I know that God just downloads stuff to me. It's like, how do I even know this information? I don't know how I know some of what I know, which is crazy. Sorry, guys, it's just how it is. Did I read it somewhere? Did I listen to it on the radio? Sometimes I can't even tell people. I just know certain things, and I just have this strong sense that when we take a look again at what this country was founded upon, a faith in God, and it was John Adams, paraphrased, who says that our form of government is only meant for a moral and upright people with faith. It can be ruled by no other. And so when I look at these lobbyists, they're being paid to do a job.
Well, I mean, they are, Jo Rae. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And that's one of the problems with our political system. But I mean, now, for some of our audience, and I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here.
Alrighty.
You're in Oregon. And yes, we think all you guys are a bunch of tree huggers, and you don't care about the Constitution. You want to take our right to bear arms away. what's really going on in Oregon?
What's really going on is we are not blue. People think that we're blue. What has happened, and it happened not just in Oregon, but in other states as well, but for some reason, Oregon has a challenge sometimes shaking off certain ways that they've been framed. So for example, I'm going to go after the Republican Party. Now, I'm a Republican because that's the political party that most aligns with my core values. For years, the Democrat Party said to the Republican Party, look, you guys are so far to the right, you should move closer to us, to the center. So the Republican Party went, okay, so they moved further to the left so they could be centrist, right? Well, the Democrats, becoming progressives, moved farther to the left. And they did the same thing. They looked back at the Republicans. Look, you guys are still far to the right. You need to move farther to the center. You need to be more encompassing, more welcoming of everybody. And so the Republican Party moved farther to the left as these progressive Democrats moved farther and farther away. What happened as that was taking place is true conservatives with the solid values that this country was founded on and their core Christian Judeo values went, who is this? Who are these people? This is not the party that I joined. Now, I can also say the same thing for the Kennedy Democrats, because today JFK would be a Republican. He espoused what we espouse today for Republican ideals for the most part. And so the Republican Party was busy trying to woo new customers into the flock and forgetting about the base of who they were. And people stopped voting. Hello, puppy. Because they would not vote for the candidates that were, for example, pro-choice. No, this goes against the core value of who I am. And I've talked to voters who are saying, absolutely, if I have two candidates to choose from and they're both pro-choice, I will vote for neither because they will not go against the core values of who they are. And that is what has happened. So in my time, as I started out as the Linn County chair and saw what was happening, and again, this is one of those downloads from God when I went back to get my degree in political science. And the professor said that Oregon is a conundrum to political scientists because we historically, until the marijuana issue passed a couple years ago, voted against liberal social measures, but yet liberal candidates kept getting elected. And they could not understand why. And literally, God downloads the answer to me and says, this is what happened. There was this good enough core of people who stopped voting for any candidate because they were too moderate and they refused to go against their core values at the ballot box. As we bring these candidates back, and whether a person, now I'm 100% pro-life, there's no question at all in that, and I don't hide from that. But whether a person is pro-life or pro-choice or pro-do whatever you want with your own life, that's up to you. We need to look at the heart of the person and what are they going to stand firm upon. So as we bring back people into the political arena that are not ashamed of the gospel, they're not ashamed of their faith, they're not ashamed of where they stand, and they're able to express that out there, whether somebody agrees with me faith-wise or not, there's a level of respect that rises up in people because they're going, I know where you stand. And I can respect that. I may not agree with you 100%. I don't agree with my husband 100%. So how do I expect a stranger to agree with me 100%, right? But there's a level of respect that comes up. And so what's happening is we're seeing people who might lean more moderate vote for the conservative candidate. And the conservative voters are voting for the conservative candidate. And that's where the magic formula, if you will, I believe sits, is because the conservative actually can appeal to the moderate because there's something in us that they're drawn to.
Well, you know, Joe Ray, God bless you for what you're doing. Really, I mean, we need more people, men and women like you, out there to bring God back into our country. I mean, because that's the real battle right now. I mean,
it
the
is.
really is that, you know, God's being taken out of the country. We have, you know, all this stuff with the transgender, all that, you know, which I'm not going to get into today. But, you know, we need people like you to stand up. Now, Joe Ray, obviously you're in Oregon, but how can people from around the country and around the world who want to help a strong Christian woman like you help you out?
So first, pray. Prayer is number one. We need to be praying for not only for me, for my campaign, that as people look at the ballot, that they see my name and that they go, yeah, this is the person. They just have that in their heart that this is who I'm gonna vote for. Of course, pray for my safety as I'm out there in my car to keep going. It's over 17,000 square miles. We vote by mail here in Oregon. Ballots were mailed out a week ago Wednesday. So people started getting their ballots last Thursday. The formal election day is the 15th of May. I lose 2.5 weeks of campaign time because I don't know who's already voted. Now I'm still out there. I'm still going to events. I'm still going out talking to people, getting to as many doors as I can with over 17,000 square miles of space to cover. And I can't get everywhere. It's just an impossibility. So that's where I need that prayer to come in. We need finances. We've placed quite a bit of advertising on the radio. That's the number one expense. That and gas in the car. Boy, whew, I looked at because we had to do a report last night, and there's a lot of gas went into my car this time. But it's okay. That's just part of it. And so finances are always important. Now, I cannot legally accept finances, donations from anybody who is not in the United States and not a U.S. citizen. So if there's a U.S. citizen abroad, they can donate. They can go to the website perkinsforusrep.com, and they can go online and they can make a donation. If they are in the United States and they are not a U.S. citizen with the legal right to work here, I cannot accept donations from them, and I can't accept donations from corporations, C Corps, S Corps, or churches. Accept donations from everybody else.
Interesting. So
Perkins,
so what is that website again?
Perkinsforusrep.com.
You know, folks, I want you to go on there. I want you to support this woman. I want you to get up off the couch, turn this video off, get busy, and make something happen in this country, because that's what Joe's doing. That's what she's doing. She's trying to make and affect a change, which is what we all need today. So please get busy. Joe Ray Perkins, God bless you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Good luck, man. We're praying for you. We're praying for you. We're right there, making sure that we're going to pray for the voters to go out and support you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and please be continuing to vote for President Trump. I 100% believe that he is there on God's assignment, and what I'm seeing him doing is absolutely amazing. He doesn't back down either, and there's so many things that I hear him say. And I'm thinking similar thoughts, and I'll finish with this. When Donald Trump did his acceptance speech at the Republican National Convention in July of 2016, I look at my husband. So I had run for the U.S. Senate, and I had just run for the U.S. House of Representatives and lost in both of those primaries. But I looked at my husband. I said, "Who gave Donald Trump my campaign brochure?" He literally was reading the bullet points out of my brochure, and I'm blown away by it. And then he talks about the Johnson Amendment, which I've been talking about, which is the amendment for people that don't understand, because I think it's really important, because people might hear this, but they don't have any idea how that came about. When Lyndon Baines Johnson was running for re-election as U.S. Senator in Texas, there were churches that were telling their parishioners, "Don't vote for him, he's an evil man." And he went back to Washington, D.C., said to the colleagues, paraphrased, "Hey guys, we got a problem. We need to fix this." So they put in an amendment to a bill that said any 501c3, which is churches, and other nonprofit organizations that speak out against a political candidate without giving their opponent an opportunity risk losing their tax-exempt status. So we ended up devolving from not talking about political candidates in the churches to not talking about political issues, to completely, I grew up with that, do not mix religion and politics, but yet the Bible says the government shall rest upon his shoulders. Okay? So President Trump brings that up during his acceptance speech. And I'm sitting there going, are you kidding me? I've been talking about we need to get rid of the Johnson Amendment, and I'm totally blown away. And so I understand how he thinks, because God has given us the mind of Christ, right? And if we're staying focused on what our calling is, and Donald Trump, I don't know when he got saved, but I know that he's a believer. I can see it in his heart. And I know people that have prayed. I have friends who have friends that prayed with him to accept the Lord. So it's amazing to see that. So please keep him in prayer, because the attack that he is under, the deep state, the left, the gates of hell, the enemy of my soul is the enemy of my nation, is the enemy of this world, are doing everything they can to take that man down, and doing everything they can to keep, as you and I discussed some things before we went on camera, to keep people like me out of Washington, D.C., because we're going to fight for what is right for our country.
Amen, Joe Ray. Again, folks, Joe Ray Perkins, if you're in Oregon, get out there, get busy, put her in office. We need her to represent us Christians out there. Joe Ray, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
As always, here on the Watchman's Report, that wraps it up for today. But don't forget, there is nothing that you can't do with Jesus in your heart.
Amen.
Nothing at all. Get out, get busy, do what Joe Ray's doing, make a difference in our world for the Christians and for everyone, all of God's children. God bless all of you. We'll see you next time here on the Watchman's Report.